Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor, and we have stars aplenty on show this weekend. We're going to be previewing the best of the action at the Dublin Racing Festival at Leopardstown on Saturday, as well as the Grade 1 Scilly Isles Chase at Sandown. As well as that, we also have further bet boosts for you ahead of the Cheltenham Festival later on in the show, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And I'm being joined, as ever, by Declan Rix and Sam Boswell. Dec, I mean, again this weekend, we had a cracking time of things last weekend with the action. Now more stars on show. There's just so much to like at the minute.
Yeah, it's a great time of year, isn't it? Yeah, last week I really enjoyed last weekend's race in Doncaster and Cheltenham. Had some really good stuff. Now we've got the Dublin Racing Festival and the Scilly Isles at Sandown on Saturday. So yeah, strap in, folks. It's going to be another good one.
Another good one. Well, hopefully so anyway. And Sam, hopefully you will continue your good form as well. I mean, Noble Yates was a cracking winner for you last week.
Yeah, I must say I was about the only person in the world that didn't want the second to win, I feel like, having watched it back a few times. And no, we've been really, yeah, it was a good January for my nap. So fingers crossed, keep it going. Bit tight on the price, but we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, for sure. We'll stay tuned for that then later on. But of course, the Bet Boost page, though, and exclusive offers on the At The Races website.
Yeah. Got another week where the best of the best boots so far will still sit there. Be able to use the link in the description to see that. And just to say, we've got 3 more coming later on the show, including one at a big price.
Nicely teed up indeed. Now, before we get into the action properly, a reminder as ever to please do gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will still do our best to point you in the right direction all the same. Right on with the action, because we're going to begin at Sandown with the Grade 1 Scilly Isles Chase for 5-year-olds and over 2 mile 4 at 2.35. Now, Hermes Allen is your strong favourite at 6-4 at the head of the market. So, Dec, how are you playing the race?
Yeah, just the 5 runners here. I suppose it's probably given ground conditions, it's maybe hard to fancy Colonel Harry, and Nickelback probably is a nice bit to find as well. Yeah, Hermes Allen, Jello and Le Patron, I think the 3 of those for novices have taken defences really well. But I think the best horse on the form so far is Hermes Allen, and it looks like a race where the best horse will win, because I think Nickelback will go forward and maybe Jello will keep him honest, so it'll be a good honest gallop, none of this tactical nonsense. But he's taken defence as well, Hermes Allen. I really like him. He jumps well. I think Sandown will be a good fit for him, because he does go a little bit right, actually. I only noticed that when I went back and kind of had a proper look at the replays, but I think going right-handed it will suit him. He does go that way. I was also maybe a little bit worried about the stiff finish at Sandown, given a lot of his recent form has come on flat tracks. But he did come up the hill well last season at Cheltenham. That was November, not March, because he was lapped in March, like a lot of the horses tend to be from Britain in those novice hurdles. But look, he's taken defence well. Look, he's not going to meet the horse of at the calibre of Il El Francais here, is he? So, and the nice ground is going to suit him, and a good gallop will suit him. So I'm hoping he'll take a fair bit of beating. 6-4, you could maybe argue, is on the skinny side. I think Jello and Le Patron will give him plenty to think about. So yeah, I'll be happy to take 2s or maybe even 3s if the bookmakers want to give it.
Oh, well, he is pleading poverty there, to be fair, I think, Sam. You're surely not willing to give him that price. 6-4. Would you be happy with that price, or which way were you going?
He'll end up shorter. Sorry, Dec, to burst your bubble, because I agree with Dec. He's made a really good argument, and that's why he's going to be shorter, I'd say. I think he lost absolutely nothing in that defeat at Kempton. I agree that the drop back in trip will definitely suit. You can put a line through that Cheltenham run last season. He's a really classy horse. I think there's a lot going in his favour. The ground is a massive factor as well here. I'm amazed how it's drying out so quickly at Sandown after war. You always expect that track to be almost bottomless this time of year, and clearly that's not going to be the case, and it will impact the likes of Colonel Harry, who I do think would have been closer to Le Patron last time out, or even maybe got the better of him. He just sort of lost his stuttered into that first. I think that cost him any chance of really being that bit closer to win. He's a lovely horse, but I think the ground will go against him. And I just felt, I know Venetia's horse was very unlucky last time out, but Hermes Allen for me was just where I kept coming down when I looked over the race a few times. Back to 2 mile 4. Paul Nicholls absolutely cherry right this time of year, as we'd expect him to be. All guns blazing going into the spring, and for me, he's the winner.
You've got, before we jump in, who trains Colonel Harry?
BetVictor brand ambassador.
Well,
Jamie
you
Snowden.
should text Jamie and say, have a nice little run around there tomorrow. Mark will drop and then target the Burn Group play. But enough of my race
plan,
management.
Declan Rix,
Onto Katie, Tracey and her fancies, because I think you're taking us on, aren't you?
Oh, I am. But especially just to bolster that, though, to join in with your race planning, with his OXO pattern that Colonel Harry has, if he flops here, he could well bounce back to winning. That would be a good target as well. So let Jamie know that we're both in on this. No, I'm taking you both on. I'm not too worried about the drop back down and trip that you've both mentioned. What I am worried for Hermes Hélène is the track. Now, Paul Nicholls was said in the week in an interview that he's a flat track horse, he feels, you know, and you look at his best form, Newbury, Aintree, Kempton. Is Sandown really going to be the test that he wants? I'm not entirely sure. And if he does shorter, I actually think 6-4 is probably a feasible price. If he does get shorter, though, I would want to be taking him on. And the one to take him on with, the price is just too tempting for me, is Le Patron here, who again is being dismissed, underestimated in the market. Grade 1 winner last time out in the Henry VIII Novices, over 2 miles. But I think a fair few people are looking at that form and thinking, well, he just handled the heavy ground better than his rivals, and he was a shock winner at 16-1. I don't think that that's the case, because the horse who finished second there, the reopposing, aforementioned Colonel Harry. Now, he is a proper soft ground performer, we've just been saying in my mind. So I don't buy into the fact that he just dealt with conditions best of all. And when you look at Le Patron's 2 prior chase wins, of course he's unbeaten, he was a winner on good ground, good to soft ground over this course and distance. And again, the Hermes Hélène form with Ile Francais, totally respect. But when you look back behind him, he was only 3 lengths in front of Kilbeg King, so perhaps it's worth looking at the horses behind as well as in front. And the Patron, he's the highest rated in here. His form from last time out has had the boost. JPL1 and Colonel Harry both winning Grade 2 since then. So I actually think the all-round form is probably stronger of Le Patron's last time out.
That's kind of what was worrying me about the Hermes Allen form, is the kind of how Kilbeg King travelled just as well as him into the straight at Kempton. So, yeah, but I think the other thing we should probably mention as well, that was a bit of an 11th hour decision to go to Kempton, wasn't it? Wasn't Paul supposed to run another horse there, and he decided to go there? So
he got the ball up. So he may not have been cherry right for that, admittedly. And the times are all your time aficionados. They would all say it was very good, but I'm also not surprised the time was very good when Ile Francais teed it up for them all that well. But yeah, I just thought Le Patron again over a course and distance he likes to be the one to go with. But the pair of you two with Hermes Hélène, I'm going to take you on Le Patron though. So different selections then for our opening race. Do let us know your own selections in the comments section below. Now, before we move on to our next race, if you're enjoying the show, and we really hope that you are, then do remember to subscribe to At The Races YouTube channel and also hit the bell notification so you never miss an episode. Right, we turn attentions to Ireland now. We head over to Leopardstown and we begin with the Grade 1 Spring Juvenile Hurdle for 4-year-olds over 2 miles at 150. Willie Mullins well represented here with 6 runners. He is the favourite as well in Storm Heart. So Sam, I mean, surely we can call which yard's going to take this prize at least.
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you, Kate? And there's all sorts of names in here that have all sorts of things written about them, and some that have gone a bit more under the radar, I suppose. And on what we've seen so far, Storm Heart sets the standard. I thought, you know, the most impressive winner from those that have won. But I think there's a forgotten horse in here, and maybe it's because on jockey bookings it wouldn't be the yard's 2nd or 3rd string, even maybe even 4th. Bunting, let's not forget, this horse is 8-1 in here, sitting at around 8-1, 10-1 for the Triumph Hurdle itself. We've seen the horse just the once in Willie's care. He won really nicely, I thought, at Limerick, jumped reasonably well, bar the last 2, where I think he just sort of hit the front a little bit early. He could have done with some company or something, you know, but in the race of that nature, Sean O'Keefe had to let him go on, and he did so impressively, I thought. Reasonable time. The form in behind looks a little bit iffy, if I'm honest. I don't think it stood up to too much, but I kind of just feel like he's a bit forgotten, isn't he? And listen, maybe the other horses have gone past him, maybe they've done more at home, I don't know, but he comes here unbeaten. You sort of think to yourself, he's not out the picture. And Willie did win this going back a little bit with footpad at a double-figure price. So we have seen the so-called first strings, you know, beaten in this kind of contest. He'll get a fast pace here, which I think will really help. And I just feel like he's actually achieved something, whereas some of the others in here that are shorter haven't.
Haven't quite achieved that. Yeah, and he was the talking horse at the start of the season, wasn't he? I mean, I put him off as an Antepost play at the very start of the season, Bunting. Just hoping to have seen him more by now. But like I say, he's got plenty to work on, though, which means scope for improvement. So Sam's already sided with one Willie Mullins runner, Deck. Are you likewise?
Well, yeah, I am, but I think the market's going to be very interesting here. We're dealing with such unexposed young horse that can make rapid progress. 6 of them are trained by Willie, so it's going to be really interesting to see how it goes. Stormheart has taken a big chunk out of the market. I tell you what, I think he's a bit short on given the nature of the race because we're dealing with a lot of unexposed types. But it's worth going on to AtTheRaces.com and watching his French runs on the flat. This horse finds some amount for pressure. He loves the game. He's got a brilliant attitude. But I'm going to take him on with his stablemate, Cargie's, the filly. Reminds me a little bit of Galamarceau, former French racer, owned by Kenny Alexander, wears a hood, was stupidly keen last time out. But she's got, like Galamarceau, she's got a very, very big engine. She carried the £3 penalty over this course and distance at Christmas behind Calaconti, who reopposes here. And, you know, given how keen she was for so long under a penalty, in a tactical race where she gave the winner a bit of a head start, I'm surprised she went so close. I think Calaconti is a very, very solid horse for this juvenile division. I went back and I watched her runs on AtTheRaces.com, which a lot of these French horses you can see there. She was never this keen in France, so I'm just hoping last time out was a case of freshness. You know, if she is a little bit keen again, I'd say to Danny Mullins, you know, let her stride on. Okay, first we're giving Jamie Snowden advice here, now we're giving Danny advice about her riding horses, but she's got a big engine, she stays very well and she jumps well, so hopefully last time out was a bit of keenness. I think she's a lovely filthy each way bet against Stormheart.
Oh, filthy each way. Yeah, another one then for the Mullins yard. I'm going to complete the Mullins trifecta then, but less original than the pair of you two, because I'm with the favourite here, Stormheart. I mean, I put up 2 horses for the Triumph Hurdle who are both running in here. Bunting, as I say, at the start of the season. Now Stormheart, who is my latest one, and he is still, I know Sergino did what he did last weekend at Cheltenham, but Stormheart for me is the Irish horse that has come along and given us the performance that we really wanted to see last time out. And I just wonder, Stormheart, if he's going to be that bit sharper than Bunting at this stage of both of their careers. Because that was a really sharp hurdle debut. Now, of course, he did have the added experience of more benefit from the flat, though, as you say, then, Deck, yourself, with those 5 runs on the flat in France. But that success just blew me away completely. And he obviously does need to brush up on his jumping a bit in that. That's his scope for improvement. But also, he was hindered because the front runner in that kept slowing up and steadying himself into hurdles, and he kept falling back into Stormheart's lap. Yeah. And that did him no sort of service whatsoever. So I actually think the turn of foot he showed to overcome that and still win by 22 lengths is just mind-blowing. So, yeah, Stormheart, I think, is a superior talent. I will be having a little savour on Bunting each way, so I'm with your selection.
Oh, see, you can't get away from Bunting.
I can't leave it. He's such a cool horse.
Your favourite darts player as well, isn't he, Stephen?
Is he now? Yeah, no, I'm all on Luke the Nuke anyway nowadays, like everyone else. And Deck, you're with?
I'm with Cargie's, please. I think she's a nice little each way bet, but the market really is going to be interested in this race.
Massively so, but we are all with Willie Mullins of runners then, so hopefully we've called the yard right anyway in the spring juvenile hurdle. As we move on to more Grade 1 action now, this is the Irish Arkle Novices Chase for 5-year-olds and over 2 mile 1 at 2.25. Marine Nationale, a short price favourite, evidently, at 2 to 5. No Gaelic Warrior, Willie Mullins with a little bit of housery there, Deck. But did you have a way to play this race betting-wise?
Oh, it was Willie Mullins bingo in full flow again this week. Yeah, it's a shame Gaelic Warrior's not going to take him on. But we do get Marine Nationale versus Facile Vega round 2. They did clash in the Supreme Novices Hurdle last season where Marine Nationale beat him comfortably, I thought, by just over 3 lengths, despite taking a fairly big balk from him as well, I think, jumping the last. And look, I love Marine Nationale. I think he's such a good horse, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him on some nice ground. I think this is probably going to be the quickest ground he's encountered, maybe since winning his maiden hurdle at Punchestown. You know, he's flat-bred, essentially on the sire is anyway French Navy, and I think this good ground is going to just bring out his class and bring out his pace and probably help him jump even a little bit better as well. It'll just make him do everything easier. But he took the fences really, really well over Christmas. Christmas. Showed everything you'd want in a novice having a first go. He was brave, he was athletic, he was intelligent, he could have quick feet as well. So, yeah, I think he's going to take a fair bit of whack in here now. I'm really looking forward to seeing him on some nice ground. So, yeah, hopefully we will be finally dubbing him a Machine National after this race.
You've been wanting to dub him that for a long time, haven't you? So this is when it might finally catch on. Then fetch might become a thing then for Dec in the end. Sam, are you in agreement there?
Yeah, it's really hard to see past him. I think going back to the performance over fences last time out, first time over fences that we saw him in public, and I think the thing to focus on with that is the quotes afterwards. He was only 75% fit, expected him to come on for it. Obviously had the tongue tie after having a little bit of a wind procedure. It's good to know that because obviously we don't have to know that in Ireland in comparison to the UK. And I think the better ground's going to just see him to better effect here. And listen, take the price out of it. If you don't like to back short prices, fair enough. But I think you can just sit and watch. And I do hope Facile Vega gives him a real test because I was disappointed to not get Gaelic Warrior in here. But, you know, if we take what people have said about Facile Vega through his career, he should give him a race. But I'll be completely honest with you, I think that bubble's burst a little bit for me with Facile Vega. I'm more than happy to not be here.
I wouldn't be giving him up, and yeah, I think the key to Facile Vega is a good end-to-end gallop. I think that's what he wants. But one thing I forgot to mention actually, the day that Marine National won over the same course and distance, Dino Blue won the open grade race. His final circuit time was 6 lengths quicker, carrying 7 pounds more. So as a man says, you do the math.
Will do. And even more reason then for Marine National why he does look an absolute superstar, doesn't he? And I'm in total agreement with the pair of you two. Of course, I'm expecting him to win and to win well. I adore this horse, and I think he is. We say about Ile Francais being the most exciting novice chaser in Europe. Well, I think Marine National is bang up there as well. And so naturally expecting him to win this, but I can't resist a betting angle into this race. And the horse that's overpriced for me is Ilite Tom. Now, he's 20 to 1. If you're playing, I'm not going to play him each way because I think I'll be chucking away the win part of that bet. But to place with the second place on offer or the without market, then I'm still hoping that I'll get a nice price about him. He's a really likeable horse, where I was concerned about him going over fences because he is tiny.
Yeah,
he's
not the
so
biggest.
small. No, I led him up in the Supreme last year and it was like taking your dog for a walk. It was great. I was sort of towering over him and he was an absolute dude. He was like a pet leading around there at Cheltenham. He's got such a good mental constitution for all that he wears a hood. And sometimes when you've got those nippier, smaller types of horses, they can make better jumpers because they have to engage brain rather than your big, burly, chasing types. Now, he's won from 2 over fences. Of course, that defeat coming at the hands of his stablemate Gaelic Warrior last time out in that controversial race, but he was still bang there turning for home. And so that just is testament to the horse's ability as much as anything else. He's got speed, jumping accurately as well. So yeah, and when you look at the likes of Facile Vega, I just have the doubts about him to deliver his brilliant best at that current price. Found a 50s win last night, was likeable, but I don't think it was that great a race and pretty questionable form. Rather than Ilite Tom, we know where we are with him. And I don't think he'll beat Marine National, but he can do second best for me.
I love this. Katie Tracey's coming to the dark side, betting without the favourite. My work here is done.
Work here is done. Finally, it's embedded in my brain now. Yeah, we spent far too much time together, all 3 of us now, for these betting angles. But you two are both going to sit and enjoy Marine National. I expect him to win, but at least a bit of a betting angle there as well, should you want to go for it. And again, do let us know your own selections. Are you taking on the short price favourite? Let us know in the comments section below. As we move on to yet another Grade 1, the feature race now itself, the Irish Gold Cup for 5-year-olds and over 3 miles at 3:35. Galopin Deschamps, understandably so, a very hot favourite. But Sam, 4 runners here, backer or layer of Galopin?
A backer, not that, as we've said already, not that I indulge too much in short prices, but what I would say is there was a little bit of criticism about this race earlier in the week. As far as I'm concerned, I don't mind small field sizes, providing we have what I would describe as a race of sorts. And I think you listen, the 2 on the outside at double figure prices, it's harder to make the case for, but we've got a proper match up here. Fast or Slow's beaten, obviously, Galopin Deschamps. Let's not knock that. Do I want to take the 2 to 5? Probably not. Do I think Galopin Deschamps will win? Yes, I do. I do think the form will be confirmed. I was very impressed last time out. It's impossibly hard to not be with what he achieved that day. You know, even if Jerry Clon wasn't quite right, who I really liked to get the better of him, I think he confirmed superiority. We've had that run now. I kind of think to myself, how do I see Fast or Slow getting the better of him here? I'd almost rather, I know this sounds a bit strange, I'd almost rather back him to after this race if he gets beat for the Gold Cup to turn the tables on him, because the Gold Cup is just such a different type of race. I think here it's kind of a no excuses. Galopin Des Champs just wins for me.
Yeah, and that justifies that price. But you make the good point there about Fast or Slow, and another colleague of mine, Andrew Mount, was saying there in the week that if he gets beaten here and he then drifts out Fast or Slow, don't let that put you off of him for the Gold Cup, because like you've just said, Sam, very different test, and his spring form in comparison to the rest of the season's form is on a whole another level. So yeah, Dec, I guess if we're looking forward to Cheltenham here, would you be more looking at this race from that perspective, or are you just happy to take this race in isolation? And again, Galopin Des Champs, backer or layer?
Yeah, I'd probably be a backer. I think it's a tricky race. It's probably one I'd be watching, to be honest, because I think Galopin, I think when he ran to such a big figure last time out, I think when horses are putting up those kind of performances, it can leave a little bit of a mark. I think Martin Brazil on the lead up to this race all week has been saying, this kind of is a prep for Fast or Slow for the Gold Cup. But to kind of answer your question, I suppose it's not just about horses. Bayern, we all kind of, in this game, it's like you win, you're brilliant, you lose, you're no good.
Yeah.
It's about how you win and how you lose. I think I can easily see Fast or Slow losing here and maybe getting closer or turning the tables at Cheltenham. If Galopin wins here, it's going to be 2-2 going to Cheltenham. It's like a Hollywood script, isn't it? Set up for the big one. I was maybe interested, if the vibes are out, Fast or Slow were really needing the race. If that ground continues to quicken and Jack Kennedy can turn this into a real test of speed, Conflated could maybe finish second because he's a better horse on better ground, to be honest. But look, I just thought Galopin was brilliant last time out. I thought the change in tactics were a massive positive. His jumping was way better. He looked sharper. I'm sure he was fitter for the run as well. And the John Durkin, his jumping early was appalling. But to be fair, I went back and watched the race again last night. Later on in the race, he actually warmed up and it was grand. But when at Leopardstown over Christmas, he was just on the mark and he bolted up. So yeah, it's a race I will be watching. Maybe if people wanted a value play, maybe Conflated without Galopin, if the vibes are good and that ground really continues to quicken on the chase track.
Yeah, I'm again in total agreement where this isn't a betting race for me. I kind of feel a bit mean, really, the fact that I've said to both of you, backer or layer, and you've had to go for one option or the other. And I am neither. I would be a backer, but I'm not going to be backing him at 2-5. This is just a race to sit back and enjoy and to see the matchup between them. Because as you say, it's currently 2-1 because a lot of people have forgotten about when Galopin Des Champs obviously stuffed Fast or Slow and the John Durkin in 2022. But then Fast or Slow probably did get just a tired Galopin at Punchestown, not fully wound up Galopin then in this season's John Durkin. But in your heart of hearts, if you had both their horses at their absolute best, who do you think is going to come out on top? Or Galopin? I mean, Fast or Slow still has £10 to find with Galopin on their absolute best, just to even match up with him, let alone to beat him. So I think at that price, you're really just chancing him to produce that best, which isn't enough reason for me to fall for the dangling carrot that the bookies are trying to offer us there by siding with the second fab in here. So great race, great matchup. Hopefully it'll tee up Cheltenham in really good style as well. So yeah, loads to look forward to all the same then, but we are all then with Galopin Des Champs and just hoping that he posts the same forms that he does in the Savage Chase of last time out. Again, do let us know your own selections or expectations for the race in the comments section below as we head over to the Skypad for more Cheltenham Antepost chat as well as our best bets for the weekend. Now, of course, there will be no end of Antepost moves after this weekend. So, Sam, we've got loads to go ahead of a Cheltenham Festival. Where were you looking?
Yeah, I'm going for Stay Away Faye. I thought last weekend the run in the Cotswolds was an absolutely brilliant effort. Pretty much in the deep end as well in the context of the horse's experience. Paul Nicholls seemingly was pretty pleased with the run as well. So handicapper put the horse up to, I think, 159. That really, for me, should be well good enough to be winning a nice staying novice chase at the festival. All roads, I suspect, will lead to that. We've boosted the horse from 5-1 to 6-1. I think that's an incredibly fair price. I know Paul Nicholls, lesser spotted with festival winners, but this horse has done the job previously there. The spring ground is no concern to me, and I think the horse just wins.
Yeah, he did post a really solid performance there the other day, didn't he? Now, as you can see on screen there is your boost 5-1 to 6-1 with the weekend winners boost for the Brown Advisory for Stay Away Fame. Make sure to utilise the QR code or head to the attheraces.com website /weekend winners to utilise that boost. Now, that's Sam's play deck. Where were you looking?
I am this week going to go to the Mare's Hurdle, and I'm going to go for Marie's Rock. She was sent off 9-4, joint favourite last season with Honeysuckle in this race. It was a mess of a race on the day. Very, very tactical, but I don't think she fired. But, you know, I think Johnny Burke and Rachel Blackmore, they gave their two horses brilliant rides from the front. Marie's Rock just far too... she was too far out of her ground, and like I said, I don't think she fired. But she comes here off a different prep this season. Now, she does have Lossiemouth to beat, no doubt, but Lossiemouth is can be a little bit of a keen goer, and she hasn't proved that she stayed 2.5 miles. If a peak for Marie's Rock turns up on the day, I think one, she's good enough to give her a good run for her money, and two, she's definitely got the ability to outstay her late. So I'd love maybe a soft ground, strongly run race where they ride her a little bit close to the pace. As this is an anti-post play, I think it's a very good each way bet. I'm happy to take the 16s each way, Marie's Rock, but if you fancy it, I think the boost is only win only, so just do keep that in mind, please.
Declan is absolutely spot on, 22-1 win only. If you've been impressed by Declan's argument, I'd say it's a pretty good one. Considering up against Lossiemouth, 22-1 is a win only price, but we'll put it down as 16s each way for your selections, Dec.
Mucho gracias.
16s each way for you.
Yeah, I'm happy with 16s.
Like say, for the wins, if someone wants to take that bit more of a chance, then for Marie's Rock, there is your temptation and the good case put up by Dec as well. Now, I'm going for a mare also, but I'm going for Dino Blue. Less original then for me for the Mare's Chase. And we're going to do a lot of learning about this mare this weekend if she does go in the Grade 1 Dublin Chase at Leopardstown on Sunday, taking on her stablemate El Fabiolo. Now, if she goes there and she does well, then Connections may well chance her in the Champion Chase. After John Bon fluffed his line somewhat at Cheltenham last weekend, then JP could well send him up in trip for the Ryanair and have Dino Blue as a leading hope for the Champion Chase. I don't really think it'll happen, but it is a possibility all the same. But I think that the Mare's Chase is hers for the taking, despite the step up in trip for her. And I do think she is a proper 2-mile chaser. Her cruising speed, attacking style of racing, and hopefully her class will just prevail over whatever trip. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I was fortunate enough to ride her out every day at last year's Cheltenham Festival, and she is nowhere near as keen as she looks. She looks like this bull in a china shop type horse, but that's why I don't have much of a fear about her stepping up in trip, despite her being a proper 2-miler with her running style. But she's nowhere near as keen as you think, so I don't think she needs a minimum trip to help her settle. So I think nowadays she can give herself every chance up in trip, and you just saw the boost on screen there. So again, make sure to utilise that, and hopefully she will then go for the Mare's Chase. Right, that's a look ahead then to the Cheltenham Festival. More Antepost plays. We always love to hear from you, so make sure to drop us a comment with your own selections for Cheltenham in the comments section below. Now we move on to our best bets for this weekend. So Dec, take the lead, please.
Yes, the Napa we've already discussed this weekend, and I believe we are all bumping heads, but it's going to be Hermes Allen for me in the Scilly Novices Chase at Sandown. I think going right-handed is going to suit him. Good ground is going to suit him, and he won't be bumping into any Ile Francais here. The next bet is also going to go at Sandown on Saturday, and that's Scamala Clia, which I believe is Irish for grey cloud or cloudy grey, one or the other. Anyway, he's rated 123. I think given how well his form is working out, I think that's a very workable mark. I love that the cheek pieces are going back on, and he might just get a little bit of juice in the ground to run it here at Sandown as well. This is a step up in grade for him, but I do think he's well handicapped. If he can adapt to the early and middle parts of the race, and he's maybe not taken on for the lead, I can see him going very well for the wonderfully informed and progressive Harry Derham team. And then the long shot, we're going to go to the very last race of the Dublin Racing Festival. I hope it's not going to be a massive get-out stakes for me, because something's gone drastically wrong if it is. But a horse that I think will go well at a price is Fluoro Fusel for the Mullins team. She was well backed before winning a bumper on debut at Naas under Jodie Townend at the start of the season. It was a tactical race, but I just loved how she travelled through the field, pulled herself from a hold-up position to make the running, and then she still found plenty of pressure late. She was well backed that day, 6s into 3s, I believe, and she's well bred as well. She's by Capgard from the family of Grand Sancy and Kescon Risque, two very good horses once upon a time. Hopefully Patrick or Jodie rides, because that's usually a good sign. So yeah, that could be the getting out horse for somebody this weekend.
But I wouldn't want to mention who that might be, but you're showing your multi-linguistic skills there as well, and your best bets
Which
are
is
out.
a surprise for me, because I can barely speak English. So.
Well, why not try it then in all different languages as well? Very impressive there with pronunciation, Sam. Any other nicely named horses that you're siding with?
Just winners, I hope, Kate. Let's keep this good run going. And we're going to kick off with my nap. And I think it's really curious at the DRF that we've got the availability that A Dream to Share can go and run in the bumper again and go probably win again. Let's look through that champion bumper form quickly. The first 12 home of all won races since. I know it's possibly a little bit disappointing we've not seen the horse over hurdles, but from a betting perspective, I was surprised. I thought this horse was going to end up slightly shorter. I know it's a quality field, but just should be the advantage of age, wisdom and ability well ahead of these here. And I think that'll be a very interesting runner come the last race on day one. Hermes Allen, as Declan's touched on, I think we've both made strong cases for this horse, and I'm a big fan of him. Can't wait to see him win the Scilly Isles, hopefully. And then Bunting was a little bit bigger when I sent this selection in. I think just about qualifies as a long shot, but I can't write a horse off that's just about single figure price for the Triumph Hurdle when he's 8-1 and he's not got to take on Sergino. So there you go.
Nicely done. We'll allow you Bunting because I've also sided with them each way, so I will happily allow you that. Now, my own best bets then. We are very much butting heads, all three of us, in the Scilly Isles Novices Chase, because I am going with Le Patron. Why not? That price is just too irresistible for me at 18-5 for all of the aforementioned reasons, that he's being underestimated again, course and distance he's already won over, and if anything, the better ground conditions should suit him better than his Grade 1 win last time out. Hopefully he'll get a nice toe into the race from Nickelback and can use his superior speed over Hermes Allen. Now, next best, I'm heading to the Edinburgh National for my next best and my long shot, which I think is a really likeable renewal of a race. Chances can be given to plenty. Boiling it down to one selection wasn't so easy, so I'm firstly siding with Landon Calling, the winner of the Lincolnshire National Handicap Chase last time out at a big price as well of 22-1. Really bounced back to form in a race that was well run, right up his street, and he was right up there with the pace, and he stayed on Festival over the 3-mile 3.5 trip, so a progressive stayer with marathon handicap chases certainly looking the way to go for him. And my long shot in the same race, 12-1, he's just about still there than for me. I was probably expecting a little bit of a bigger price for Christopher Wood, but a fascinating horse where I know that the Venetia Williams form at the minute, it has waned somewhat from what we were seeing earlier on in the season, but this horse stepping up in trips so markedly. Venetia doesn't just do this for the crack, so I'm fascinated by him. He's gone a long time without winning. The last time he won was actually at this Musselburgh meeting back in 2021. Now that was the Scottish County Hurdle as well, but since then, with his winless run and over fences as well, he has fallen down the handicap. So I wonder if this might just be Christopher Wood's time to strike. Right, that is everything from us on this week's show. Big thank you to Dec and Sam for all of their hard work as per usual. Big thank you to you at home for watching. Best of luck with your bets this weekend. Enjoy all of the top class action, and we'll be back at the same time next week to preview Super Saturday from Newbury.